Hello and welcome to your weekly astrology forecast. I just lit a candle and I'm listening to Inner Bloom by Rufus Du Sol and I'm just vibing over here. How's your weekend? How has your week been going? Last week, I mentioned that it was a very sweet astrology week. I would say more personally versus the collective versus the mundane because the empire is empiring, but geez, I tell my clients all the time that we have to live within this duality of understanding that our life is sacred, that time is precious, and that we came here for a specific reason. And that's why I love astrology. You just have to know your role and bring forth your magics and talents. And knowing that we are a part of this greater web of life. And by you doing your thing and by you sharing your magic and you showing up in your full authenticity is how we change the world because we are all interconnected. And I love that about astrology because astrology really helps you to understand your role, the timing of your life, and also the different parts of your life, the people in your life that sometimes actually, the more I've learned astrology and observed astrology, there is this interplay of free will and choice and also fate and destiny, which is like so beautiful. So I'm going to turn this off because I don't want to get like a copyright warning. So, like I mentioned, last week's astrology would have been the sweetest week. This week is going to be sweet as well. And yeah, I guess let's start with the recap of just like Pluto is retrograde. Pluto is retrograde for the first time in the sign of Aquarius. And Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth and transformation. Pluto really does expand the extremes. So you will experience Pluto's up and downs wherever your Aquarius whole sign house is. So that happened yesterday on May 4th. Pluto went retrograde, and it's a 5 month retrograde. And this is the time to really do some reflection because Pluto has been moving through your Aquarius house in and out, right, since 2023, but for realsies since November 19th of 2024. So November until May, you've had some hints as to what your Pluto journey will entail. And now it's about reflection, review, doing some shadow work, just understanding too that Aquarius is the sign of connections, networking. It's the sign of the collective. Pluto is the god of the underworld. So when Pluto was conjunct the sun back in January, that was the inauguration. We kind of saw the shadow aspects of what power and the plutocracy and the brocracy, the technocrats looks like. And now the people, Pluto in Aquarius, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to stand up to it? And this has a lot to do with social media, networking, mutual aid. How are we going to show up and kind of take our rights back, right? So that was the biggest transit of last week. Also, we are officially out of the Mars retrograde story. Blessed be, hallelujah. And we're really moving forward. Like all of the planets are moving forward except for Pluto until I believe the end of this month. But it's interesting that, hold on, let me check for sure when the next retrograde planet will be. And then, yes, Venus will come out of its post retrograde shadow on May 16th. And I believe the next retrograde planet is in June, I believe. Oh, not for a while. Yeah. So all planets are moving forward. You will feel some forward momentum. As I mentioned in the last week's video, things are going to start to feel like they're moving forward now until probably the middle of May, when we are in Gemini season and things are really going to feel like they're moving forward. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing depending on your resistance or your acceptance of change. I would say that a lot of the fixed signs right now are having difficulty, especially if you're a Taurus, because of the squares to Pluto, of the squares to Mars, and yeah, and we're building up in this energy towards the full moon in Scorpio, which is May 12th. But that's not a part of this week's astrology, but we're building up to that energy. Yesterday was May 4th, which was the first quarter moon, which was in Aquarius. So that was a crisis point of we have to make a decision. Something has got to give. And I've been reading for a lot of Taurus this week because of the birthdays, right? People want to know where their next year, their solar return chart is going to entail. And gosh, I love fixed signs. I have fixed sign placements. I have fixed sign placements in Aquarius and Scorpio. So I'm saying this as somebody with fixed sign placements, but it's so funny how people with fixed sign placements will come to me for guidance of like how to make their life better, how to change, right? And then I tell them and they're like, "Oh, but I don't want anything to change." I'm just like, "Oh God." Which is why you want to make the change yourself before the universe takes the wheel and takes something from you, which is the energy of this full moon in Scorpio, because it's opposite Uranus in Taurus. Something unexpected is going to happen. And one of my recent clients was like, is that a good or bad thing? I don't know. Again, it's your resistance or acceptance to unexpected changes in your life, and the way in which you process and the way in which you pick yourself up back from unexpected change. But for some people, I have to say, my beautiful fixed sign placements, sometimes the universe, the divine, God, Allah, whoever you pray to needs to intervene because you're not doing anything. Like you're praying for your soulmate, you're praying for your dream job, you're praying for your life to change, but you yourself are not doing anything. So it's like the universe is coming in and stepping in on your behalf and removing that job, removing that toxic person, putting you into situations where you're more in alignment. I always say that a lot of life is your consistency and you showing up, doing your thing that you are meant to be doing, that you love to do, that you actually are meant to do, which is why I always ask my clients, like, do you desire this? Like, what do you actually desire? And get so fucking for real about it, because life is short. And because we live in capitalism, we have to do the thing to make the money to exist. So you better like it on some level, because we're going to be spending a lot of time doing it. So if this is you and you're putting in the work and you're showing up every day and there's obstacles that are in the way, right? But you have to ask yourself, like, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Are you going to keep going if you're not going viral? Are you going to keep going if nobody is validating your work? If you never get that blue check on your Instagram account, if you are not in the 30 under 30 or whatever the fuck stupid shit that is on Forbes, which everybody pays to be on that list anyway, you know, all of these like external validating things, like you have to still want it so badly that you show up no matter what. And then the external environment, right? The world meets you and you are in alignment. And then that's when you just, that's when everything is like easy. There's no resistance. But to get to that point, you have to be prepared for the opportunity. And that is very much like the Seven of Pentacles for me in tarot. It's very much this energy of, are you going to keep showing up when things aren't going your way? How bad do you fucking want it? And you have to ask yourself these questions and be so honest with it. And so there's this thing called you showing up, right? And then divine timing, because timing is everything. And I know this firsthand experience. The right guy at the wrong time is the wrong guy. If you are not internally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally prepared for the thing, it's the wrong time. Like, you have to be in that energetic body, that conviction of, this is what I want, and this is what I'm aiming for. And as a mutable sign girly, I never really knew what I wanted, to be honest with you. And even sometimes now I'm like, I keep asking myself, like, is this what I really want to be doing? Is astrology really the thing? Is spirituality and content creation really the thing? And for now it is. So I show up every week, every day, doing the thing that I love to do. And if there's ever a point where I don't feel it, or I'm bored, or I just like don't like doing it anymore, I have to ask myself the real question: am I just at a stagnant point where I need to find a muse, or I need to be more inspired, or is this really just not it anymore? And you have to just be honest with yourself, because again, I feel like life is so precious, and you shouldn't waste your time on things, situations, and people that just like aren't in alignment. Because again, time is precious. And when you understand that, you will direct your energy and your focus into the things that you want to grow and you want to invest your time in. So all of this is to say that, again, I've been reading a lot of Taurus people's charts, and Taurus is the most fixed. It's the most stagnant. It's the most, and I don't mean to say stagnant in a bad way either. Sometimes like Taurus people are very stubborn, determined. They're very, I think determined is the nice way of saying stubborn, but sometimes you need to be stubborn because you believe in something so much. But also that could be at a detriment to your growth, because if you're just standing still and if you're just doing the same shit, you will never experience the life that you truly desire if you don't actually allow for the thing to die, right? Because the opposite sign is Scorpio, the sister sign, which is all about non-attachment and allowing things to decompose so that new life can form. And that's why I think this full moon in Scorpio is so significant for a lot of people, especially Taurus, thick sign placements, because you really have to let that thing go, like fucking let it go. And I'm speaking to myself too, because nothing will ever come from holding on to the thing that you think will give you the comfort. And I think for a lot of people, it could be shocking because you're holding on to that thing that you thought would give you some semblance of safety or security. Or for a lot of people, that's a job, right? For a lot of people, that's money in this capitalistic society. But ultimately, the wisdom of Taurus is knowing that you're always taken care of, that this earth is abundant, and that hoarding is actually a symptom of scarcity and poverty consciousness. So I just want to like invite y'all to, if something does happen unexpectedly, that maybe this is the universe, maybe this is the divine stepping in and saying, nope, this isn't for you anymore. You've been praying for that new thing, that new chapter of your life. And the only way you're going to get that is for us to take this away. With that being said, on May 5th, which is today, I'm sorry I am doing this later than normal. The moon will enter Virgo at 3:39 p.m. Eastern time. And Virgo moons are great days to clear, clean, detox, focus on your health. It's a great way to do some clearing exercises. I just did that this morning. I literally opened all my windows. I did a prayer. I called in the ancestors. I swept shit away and just like getting your space ready for the thing that you are calling in by letting go. And this is Eastern time, by the way. So in the Pacific time, it'll be 12:30 p.m. ish. Today, Mercury in Aries will sextile Jupiter in Gemini at 22 degrees. Now, this is another very sweet aspect. Mercury in Aries is blunt, it's direct, it gets to the point, is honest. I like Mercury and Aries people. And a sextile is a 60-degree angle. And so sextiles are very harmonious. They're very, I would say, it's an energy where you can really talk about the things with somebody else and it goes smoothly. So Jupiter in Gemini is all about being curious, an abundance of information, an abundance of sharing. Yes, it could be an abundance of chisme, gossip, tea, but I think Mercury in Aries, sextile Jupiter in Gemini is a great day to share something, to announce something, to talk about topics with people that maybe if it was a square, right? If Mercury was square to, let's say, like Pluto or something, that would have more of a triggering effect, or Mercury square Mars, it would be more of a combative energy because I think we're going to have that energy later on in the month. But this is like, you know what? I want to talk about the things that are really important in life. It is kind of an energy for telling somebody how you feel in terms of like just being honest with somebody and being authentic about what you're thinking. Okay, because Aries is a Martian sign. It is a sign about conflict sometimes. It is a shit stirrer sometimes. So like Mercury in Aries, sextile Jupiter and Gemini could be you being the shit starter and talking shit about somebody or gossiping. But let's use this in a let's use this in a constructive way and say that Mercury and Aries with Jupiter and Gemini is you approaching a subject that normally you wouldn't necessarily with a group of your friends, like, hey, have you heard about what's going on in Palestine? Like, it is fucked up. Like, our tax dollars are funding this thing. It's crazy, you know? Oftentimes, when you say that, most people would be against a G side. Most people are against their money funding a G side. Or Mercury in Aries, sextile Jupiter in Gemini is, oh my gosh, did you know that they were going to pass a bill today in Congress that allowed people to be arrested and paid fines for boycotting Israel? Oh my God. But it didn't go through the House. It didn't go through, not the House, the Senate. But that's crazy because our rights are literally on the line because boycotts work. Boycotting works. And fascism is fascism. So that's the kind of energy that is today on May 5th. And it's a great energy to take advantage of. On May 6th, so the very next day, Venus in Aries will sextile Pluto retrograde in Aquarius at 3 degrees. Now, I like Venus when it meets up with Pluto in a harmonious way and even in a square, because this is like sexy time energy. This is like, I want to just be honest with some of the things about my sexuality that I've been holding in the closet. What is that what you say? Holding in the closet or being in the closet? Venus in Aries, Venus is debilitated in Aries, or because the opposite is when Venus is in its domicile, right? Because when Venus is in domicile, it's in either Taurus or Libra. So when Venus is in a Mars world sign, it wants to do the Mars thing. It wants to do the Aries thing, which is independence and self-sufficiency. And it wants to break away from the group and do its own thing. And so Venus in Aries is this very fiery, very main character energy. And sextile Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius to me is like revolution energy. It's all about breaking free of the things that keep us bound. And it's the archetype and energy of liberation. So this could be coming out of the closet or experimenting with your sexuality. It could be just even talking about it, because I don't know. I think I've been having these conversations with a lot of people just in the terms of why do they want to, why are they so hell bent in making everything heterosexual and everything binary? Because nature is queer, nature is neurodivergent, and I feel like we are the same. I think we are more queer than we think we are. I think we are more neurodivergent than we think we are. I think everything in this universe is more multidimensional and non-binary that we make it out to be. So why are we fitting ourselves into these boxes when we're not meant to live that way? So anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent, but I just see Monday and Tuesday being these very liberating energies of I'm just going to say it how it is. I'm just going to be who I am. And I don't fucking care. And that's why I love being an Aries sun. It is literally like I feel blessed by God. And Aries would say that. On May 8th, the moon enters Libra at 3:06 a.m. Eastern time. So this will still be on May 7th in the Pacific time. And so, yeah, once the moon enters Aries from now on, it's going to immediately oppose Neptune. And then later on in the month, it's going to oppose Saturn because Saturn is moving into Aries on May 24th, and any of the other Aries placements if you have that natally as well. And then on May 10th, Mercury will enter the sign of Taurus, and the moon will enter Scorpio at 3:58 p.m. Eastern time. So this is really an interesting day because, again, all the fixed sign energies are starting to lock in, so to say. Mercury is the planet of communication. It is the planet of disseminating information, downloads, commerce, mobility, moving around. In the sign of Taurus, though, Taurus is an earth sign. So how Mercury shows up in a Taurus sign, I always find that people with Mercury in Taurus have really nice voices, very sensual tones, very deep voices. Gigi Hadid, she has a Mercury in Taurus. She has a very deep voice. Theo James, the actor, very cute. He also has a very deep voice. Adele, I believe she's a Taurus. I'm not sure if she has a Mercury in Taurus, but they have very sensual tones to their voices. They make very great singers. So there's this like tone is something that it's hard to explain because it's like a resonance. It's like this sweet, seductive voice that comes through. So I'm even wondering if voice-over actors have their Mercury in Taurus. Nonetheless, this is the day when the moon officially enters Scorpio and we are officially in the full moon energy. So like I mentioned, the full moon will go exact on May 12th. So next week's astrology will cover that full moon. But for the most part, I think this is a really beautiful week. Again, it's just to be honest with yourself. It's just to show up as your authentic self and just allow the things that need to be released to be released. And I know that's a hard thing for humans to do because we are so attached to the physical realm. And when something like a job or money, I'm just thinking about Taurus topics, like physical things that we can see, when they're taken away, it really does impact our self-esteem. And then you have to ask yourself why, because it's designed to be like that. So I wanted to do something different just because this week's astrology was pretty like light. There wasn't that much to report on except for Monday and Tuesday were big ones. So I'm going to pull us some cards, and I did this pull for myself this morning. Tarot cards. Let's light up some copal to cleanse this deck. And we're going to ask this for the collective. So, collective reading for the viewers of Awaken and Align or my personal channel. Okay. Ancestors, spirit guides, angels who are here for the highest good of myself and the highest good of all involved. Please show us the messages you want us to know for today. And let's see. Give this a good shuffle. So we're going to ask the heart of the matter. What is the heart of the matter? Thank you. Woo! 9 of Pentacles. This is a Virgo card. It's Venus in Virgo, actually. All the yellow cards in the tarot deck are positive. So the 9 of Pentacles is somebody who is self-sufficient, independent, grows their own abundance through their own skill sets, because when you also have grapes, growing grapes takes a lot of skill. So that's putting in the work. And the card before this, the 8 of Pentacles, is mastery. It's really focusing on your craft. And remember what I was saying in the beginning of you showing up every single day, no matter what, and asking yourself, is this what I really want? Like, no matter what happens, and how bad do I want it? Like, not selling your soul to the devil, but like, or doing immoral things or morally ambiguous things, but just like, how bad do you want it? And how much of your focus and your time are you going to put to your craft? This is a self-made person. Okay, so what is the obstacle? Wait, I really love this. And what is the obstacle? What is the obstacle? Oh, I'm just laughing because I cannot make this shit up. The devil is the shadow aspect of the lovers, and the lovers is the choice. The devil talks about being stuck, like being stuck by your attachments. I know this is a Capricorn card, but this is kind of what I was saying about Taurus energy. It's like you're shackled to yourself. Like you're not shackled actually to anything. You have the ability to free yourself. And this is not a bad card, by the way. This is like in esoteric traditions, this is just Bacchus, which is the god. It's like Dionysus, who's the god of like pleasure. It's Pan, that archetype. Actually, if we really want to get to it, this is Saturn energy because it's Capricorn, and it's about pleasure and being in the pleasure of physical things like drinking and sex and all that stuff, right? But the shadow aspect comes when you are too attached to those physical things and not acknowledging the spiritual self. And that is the ultimate growth edge of a sea goat, of a Capricorn, is the tail part, which is part of the ocean, which represents the consciousness. But then focusing too much on worldly pleasures, which is the goat part. So the heart of the matter is wanting to be self-sufficient, financially abundant, self-made, right? The obstacle is your attachment to the way in which it shows up, perhaps, or an attachment to an addiction or an obsessive behavior, or doing something too much and not recognizing that you have the power to break the chains from a pattern. Okay, what is the blessing? Holy shit, this reading. What is the blessing? Thank you. The Hermit, another Virgo card. Yo, I think it's the Virgo moon today. Okay, so the Hermit card is all about listening to your inner wisdom. The Hermit is cloaked, which is like that figure in the Eight of Cups walking away from like what you've built and has this light. So the Hermit is able to show people, it's a way shower, people the way because you've learned the wisdom yourself. This is the blessing. It's like you overcome something. Okay, you've overcome abuse, you've overcome an addictive thing, you've overcome a obstacle. You teach people through your own lived experience, and this is how you're able to do this. Okay. What is the advice? What is the advice? Oh, the Queen of Wands, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. And that's all the Aries energy. Believe in yourself. Believe in all of the wisdom that you have, your intuition, your primal instincts, what you're attracted to. The Queen of Wands is somebody that has gone through shit and now has the courage and the confidence to sit up here on this throne, creatively express. And at the end of the day, the queen is a queen. I don't want to gender these cards because queen is just feminine energy. It is the ability to know your attractive power, Venus and Aries. It's the ability to know that as within, so without, you attract those things to you from this place of confidence. So I hope this little mini read for this week helped. And I will see you next week on this epic full moon in Scorpio. Love you so much.